Hi, folks. Hello, everyone. There are 5 of us already. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time here, let me say welcome. This is A Nose Nose. My name is Dana, and this is the first and only channel I know of in English dedicated entirely to the more obscure, to the lesser known, to the long forgotten, to the brand new items in perfumery. La Luca, welcome. And Gabriela, welcome to my house. And Liliana, welcome. And Cosine. Today we'll be talking about what I consider to be, hi Julie, yes, you made it. What I consider to be the most goth fragrance in my collection, and definitely the most goth fragrance, including rose, I know of. I'm not sure why I chose to describe it this way. It must be because I've seen quite a few attempts to localize the most goth something in perfumery. I had no idea the fume heads are so gothy or steampunky or whatever I can't imagine they're like horror rock listeners, but hey, I guess it's cool to look for goth anything. No idea. Why do people like goth stuff? Anyway, apart from a very, very interesting aesthetic that has to do with medieval times, that has to do with architecture, well, some of it. It's 3 hairs. It has to do with architecture. It has to do with a certain state of the spirit. It has to do with a certain decorating philosophy and so on and so forth. I'm not really sure why the frag heads are so much into goth. I bet nobody's visited the Goth Bone Church in the Czech Republic. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up, Google it up, Bone Church, and you'll see very, very Sedlec is the name of it. A very, very interesting construction made entirely of bones, decorated with bones, with furniture made of bones, including human bones. A beautiful human bone chandelier. Isn't that romantic? Hi, Dan, Christine. Every morning, whatever seems more appropriate to you. I think Ash Fak, who's signing in from Bangladesh, is in the middle of the night over there. Pulp Frag, Alex, and Gabriella. Hi, everyone. Okay, so today we're talking about goth. Well, we're not talking about goth. We're talking about a goth fragrance. It made me think of goth because it is very dusty. I was actually trying to film one of those 60-second videos about Hayat because it's related to that. I didn't have enough time to produce it right before I went live. But Ananda from Massachusetts. But the one that I do want to talk about today is a beautiful obscure. It's a very interesting discovery from a blind buy because I do a lot of my buying that way. Right. It is crazy. And it is interesting that frag heads are into bone. I think they're so, we're also connected to our sensory, and that is somehow fed into this luxury paradigm that we were so assaulted with today, that I think we're removed from the realities of life, from the morbid, from the ugly, from the decay, from the all of that stuff that Baudelaire wrote about in Les Fleurs du Mal, the flowers of evil, right? He wrote about moss, and he wrote about mold, and he wrote about dungeons, and he wrote about decay and bodily functions and all that stuff, and that became very popular in his time. I think there's a recycling of interest, and because we're so sanitizer, trim, wax, clean my 4 times a day, whatever, it's kind of attractive to go into the other direction and go, oh, it's so cool, I'm so goth, I'm so emo, I'm so this, I'm so that. And there's a fascination with trying to compensate that space in our mind. I have no idea why frag heads are into goth, but if you go on any forum, you're going to see a lot of questions about the most goth this and that. For some reason, because of tattoo parlors and artificial insemination concepting in our brain, goth and rose go together. And one of the most frequent questions, hi Daffy, you will find on forums in relation to anything that has to do with goth is, can somebody tell me, can somebody tell me the most goth? Fragmental is with us. Carmen is with us. If you sign in, please let me know where you're coming from. I know Bangladesh is with us. I know England is with us. I know some Germany, some Romania, the East Coast. This is what it's about, folks. So the most frequent question, if you go on Fragmentic, if you go on Best Notes, if you go on anywhere, the most frequent question is, what is the most goth? Switzerland. Hi, Darius. Rose and goth go together. You would think bones, you would think smoldering stuff, you would think frankincense, because goth, again, is not all about the music. Goth is about a certain time in history, a certain kind of architecture, busyness, and a concept of decay, end of the world kind of a thing. I would associate it with steampunk if I were to be a creative director somewhere, but that's just me. Anyway, let your eyes roll back into roll. Yeah, I know. BBC Horizons has an episode about overclean environment is hampering children's health. I agree with that. Let's get dirty. I've been looking for a goth violet. Okay, I'll help with that. All right, so the house I'm going to talk about today, you probably never heard about it, is an American ultra niche. When I say ultra niche, I mean two things. One is constructed with the same principles of niche in mind, minus the money thing. So it has principles of quality, creativity. It's almost like the sounds of fragrance, right? Like you have it for diamonds, you have it for fragrance as well. Quality, creativity, je ne sais quoi, as in you need the creator to be a little bit like je m'en fiche, to not care about the opinion of the public. You need that. And then you have innovation in the lines of packaging, promotion, and everything else. All of this together create what I call niche, for which creativity and stepping off the beaten path with an interesting level of quality of ingredients is necessary. This dude I'm talking about today is in the likes of Eric Butterbau or Butterbach. I have no idea how to read his name because nobody ever reviews anything of his because it's too expensive and it's too floral and it's too out there. So I'm talking about very smart, super talented, quite flamboyant, and super rich florists. Dun, 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 dun. So the house for today is called Isabella. Isabel, written this way. Isabel with two L's, is the house kind of like Jar, kind of like Eric Butterbau. Exactly. If anybody from Jar sees this or Eric Butterbau sees this, please know I'm a huge fan. It's just that I can't afford your damn fragrances. I need to sell a kidney or a kidney stone or something. I don't know. Okay. Isabella is the house name I'm going to talk about today. It was launched in 1996. The entire house was launched in 1996 by Robert Isabell, who was a very fancy florist in New York City, kind of like Eric Butterbau is in Los Angeles. The kind of designers that are invited to all the big, international weddings to arrange stuff for them. This dude, who's also a very good business mind, decided he's going to hire the best people in the industry, the best designers, the best perfumers, the best source identifiers because it's hard to compete for certain ingredients nowadays, to create a line of fragrances that represent his business and his vision on life. And he launched, unlike anybody else, in 1996. Companies were launching one fragrance at a time, and they were launching the the ozonic, the marine, the escapist. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's the newest type of fragrance, I guess, when it comes to mass appeal. And everybody in the 90s was wearing, the industrial marine ozonic blah blah blah. This dude said, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna launch one at a time, and I'm definitely not gonna launch marine and lighty and whatever. So he hired Romano Kaiser, who at that time was at Givaudan. They got really friendly really quickly, and they started traveling the world looking for the best ingredients to come up with the headspace idea that he had for these fragrances. I have two because I'm crazy in the head and because I can't help myself, because that's what I do. So this one is going for about $200 on eBay right now. I've seen it on some like Indian Amazon for $300, which is insane. Don't pay that money, or do if you're into Goth roses. But it came the way you see it, and I'm going to talk about packaging a little bit later. The second one I bought with the box, and it looks like this. This is all aluminum, and it looks like this. The name of the fragrance is on the bottom, on the top, kind of like in bas relief kind of a thing, and the fragrance is nestled in a all aluminum box as you see it. So this is how it's presented. I don't know if there was anything else on top. This is kind of weird. It's one of those sliding whatever, but this is what it looks like. If you see it and you recognize it, buy it, because it's an investment. Even if you don't like it, you might be able to make some money off of it. So there you go. Isabell is one of the 5 that were launched. The other ones were Savannah, that one, Kala, and actually, I don't remember the other one. Mandarin was another one that was very citrusy and juicy from what I can tell. And Ceylon being Sri Lanka of today, so it was a spicy one. ATTAR, theoretically, is what? Oriental? Sure. Going back to the Church of Bones from Sedlak in the Czech Republic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google it. It's a church where everything is made of skulls and human bones. Swing from the chandelier. No, thank you. That's not romantic for me. Show the name, please. It's called ATTAR. ATTAR. And I will write it in the title as soon as I'm done with the video. ATTAR by Isabell. So this is this was a surprise. Okay, Oriental, sure. Whatever that means for everybody, right? Anything that's east of wherever you are, to you, it's Oriental technically. But this, I call it a Goth rose because it's the dustiest fragrance I've ever encountered in my life. I personally like dusty. Cappuccini Church, that's right. The percentage of natural essences, no, they never disclosed that. I will tell you the story of how it was launched. It was a big, huge deal. He spent a lot of money sourcing stuff. He spent a lot of money designing the bottle. I don't know if you can hear it, but let's see. So this is made of optic glass. Optic glass is what your eye lenses, your eyeglass, vision glasses are made of. So it's a highly dense glass that has a very high refraction, a very low refraction coefficient, which means every single thing that comes through it, at it, goes through it. It's a very high quality medicinal glass. For some reason, he decided to package these in something that almost looks like a laboratory éprouvette. What is it called? Lab. In English, I don't know the name. Lab éprouvette. Help me out here, please. I think you know what I'm talking about. Vial, thank you. Thank you, Don. So this is very expensive production. He also invested a lot of money into research. He invested a lot of money. Yes. Myrrh, frankincense, rose, and a lot of dusty elements. I will try to test tube. Thank you. To split it into notes. I will tell you what my nose gives this or gets from this. But the guy put about $15 million in research and development in picking the right materials. He did not release the formulas. You will see that Fragrantica has like Oriental notes. Really, really. Or flowery notes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's very helpful. Interesting point of view. You know, like, okay, whatever. I didn't research it, to be honest, because I never do before these lives, because I don't want to, influence my brain. Do you like my fake beauty marks? These are zits, just so you know, in case you're wondering. No, I usually don't cover them with with makeup or something, and if I get zits, I accentuate. Goes with the Goth team. Anyway, so yeah, the percentage I do not know. I can look into it, although the last time I searched it, I didn't find anything. But he had a vision, so everything was very integrated in the sense that he put everything in inventory. He made sure that he exhausted the resource stock. So if he used some sort of frankincense or rose extract or absolute or concoction or oil or whatever from somewhere, he made sure that he bought all of it so that nobody can have access to it. So he was a little bit off and a little bit on point for his time. He also picked the best promoters. He created one of the first fragrance websites in the world because he had that kind of mind. He had a direct line with direct sales. He had Isabell.com. I don't know if there's anything there now, but I've heard of him. He was a character, and he was a brain, and he was a creative force that a lot of people talk about to this day. I'm very surprised these don't come up more often. I bought it because I seldom buy things. If I do a Google search and nothing comes up, I will buy it. It's very simple. Oh, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. $70, $80. I don't know the other ones, and I wouldn't pay the money for Savannah because it's a white flower concoction of the likes I already know and own some things of. The best white flower in that direction, in my opinion, is the first duo from Giorgio Armani, which is very hard to find. That's another like $200, $300, $400 a bottle, whatever. So I have something similar that's better and fuller, and it satisfies me. So I wouldn't pay for that, but for this, I would pay the 70. I would pay the 100. Honestly, I would pay the 200 because it's different from everything I've smelled to this point. Now, going back to the fragrance, I'm gonna tell you how it projects. Let me show you the cap. This is still aluminum, and inside there's a cork, which is interesting. Okay, this goes onto the skin with a very interestingly citrusy but not sour note. It's not orangey or mandarin-y or in that direction either, because those have very specific types of smells. I would say it's a aromatic lemon, kind of like a Meyer lemon. If you live in the United States or you know what a Meyer lemon is, it's kind of like that. If you don't, Ashfaq, maybe you have Buddha's hands where you are. Buddha's hands, if you don't know what they are these citrus things that look like aliens. They look like octopuses, octopi, literally like a sepia, I don't even know what to describe it as. It looks like it has tentacles made of rind. If you cut it, I was very disappointed the first time I saw it, and I put it like this to my nose, and I felt that very floral, weird citrus smell. It's kind of like quincy, a little bit florally, gorgeous smell. I would infuse vodka with that any day. Maybe I'll give you ideas. Actually, I have infused Doctor with that. No. This no cigarette. So Buddha's hand has this very citrusy but aromatic smell to it. That's the kind of citrus notes I pick up in this, and they're very slight. They're just for a little bit of. Savannah is $899. No, thank you. It can get old and die there. Thank you very much. No, take it and go. Take it and go. Used in EA as in Emirates? Where's EA? Where's EA? Let me know. I don't know what that means. So it opens with, like I said, with the slight citrus, particular type of citrus top. The next thing that comes in is very interesting because the dust is there from the beginning. It's bone dry. I don't know what essential air. I have no idea. Hey, I didn't wake up with English. Come on. Help me out. The dust is there from the beginning. So you smell pollen, not floral, not towards beeswax, but pollen and East Asian. Got it. Dusty, pollen-y, and savory a little bit. So this makes me go think of fennel pollen. I don't know if any of you have tried fennel pollen. Maybe if you live in Italy or on the Mediterranean side, because fennel pollen is very rich in what we call umami. So the same stuff that you find in soy sauce. I'm getting goosebumps because I am such an eater. Anything in soy sauce, anything in mushrooms, sun-dried tomatoes, anything in what else? What else has a lot of umami? Anchovies. So all of this is that taste of savory and good. You feel it's taste. It's tasty. Monosodium glutamate is tasty. Not very good for you always, but it's tasty. So that umami, plentitude, slightly savory feeling is very present in fennel pollen, which is called natural MSG in Italy. And it's slightly anistic, slightly floral, I guess every pollen is, and slightly savory, and that's what I'm feeling in this. But it's super, super, super dry. It's bone dry. There's nothing juicy. There's nothing sparkly. There's nothing airy. There's nothing. It's very dry. Yeah. Summer or winter savory. It's kind of like summer savory. Kind of like dry summer savory. Yes, you're very, 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 yes, super on point with that. So if the rest of you don't know what it is, summer savory is an herb that is very fragrant. It's somewhere in between maybe oregano and thyme and bay, kind of, somewhere in between. And the summer savory, when it dries, it's still very fragrant and super dry. It smells of dust, not of dirt, but of dust. Okay. Also on the top, you can feel a little bit of clove, slight clove, not too much. And it's almost like just for balance. It's not for flavor. It's almost just for the heat, because the effect of this is very smoldering. It's like hot lava, but dry. If there would be, they show liquid nitrogen freezing things. It's a little bit, or mercury, right? Our brain doesn't really make the connection between what you see and what you know it should be, kind of a thing, when it comes to texture and state of aggregation. That's what it's called in chemistry, state of aggregation, whether it's liquid, gaseous, solid, and now there's some something like column. So this is like powdery hot lava. If that makes any sense at all, please stick around. I got more. All right. So this first impact that is spicy, savory, dusty, airy kind of lasts about 2 minutes. It's a very, very short top. What comes in is a dry rose, kind of like the ones you see sometimes in fancy cocktails, like when you sit there, like your like fancy steel whatever sucking straw, or you have some bartender bae who's like full of muscles and full of mustaches and goes like this, and you know, when they do that. If you don't drink, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're a drinker, you do know what I'm talking about. They're shaking those cocktails a little bit too much. It's just for the show, right? Anyway, that's why we pay them, to show their muscles and to shake and smile. So shake what your mama gave you. Cocktail, bung, rosebud, dry. Belongs more in a tea or maybe in a lip scrub or something. But that's a different story. The rose comes in. It's not dewy rose. It's not tea rose. It's not an alive rose. This rose has been dying, and no, it's been dead since Goth times. Okay? If you go like this, it falls apart. That's how dead this rose is. It's been dead for a long time. This is the dead rose painted on a manuscript page. It's not even physical rose, okay? That's how dense, dusty, weird, conceptual headspace rose this is. This is probably, I don't know how it's composed. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how much of it there is. It's supported by carnation. And when I say carnation, I mean the hot, spicy, we're at a funeral carnation, which is fun, I think. That mingles with the clove very well, and you can still separate it at this stage, which is very surprising to me, because in my case, and to my nose, usually if there's one, I can't feel the other. I read the ingredients, the notes, and I'm like, nope, I'm not picking that up. Or if it's a very important person, I go look at them and I'm like, you're either very good or very full of shit, because I'm not smelling any of it. Anyway, Gallica rose. All right, let me write it down. I'm an iconographic learner. If I write it down, I'll remember it. So Gallica, is that a type of rose? Thank you. Came for the perfumes, stayed for the poetry. And I don't know what I'm, yeah. I'm talking about this. I think I'm talking about this. So like I said, rose, hot carnation, still clove that you can still feel. I almost feel a little bit of allspice as well in there. They're still savory. Huh. Interesting. So this was discontinued in 2002. They all had a very short life. Launched in 96, all 5. Dead in 2002. So this is at least 17 years old. I don't know what's in it. According to the color, I would say there's a little bit of labdanum, probably a little bit of vanilla, even though it's not that kind of, it's a rosy orange. It's not a soft orangey orange. So I don't know what gives this color. Russian Gallica rose is Russian. Gallica, I would say it's Gauls is that way. But maybe it's Russian rose. I learned something today. Say thank you to Candy. Thank you. So we need to research Gallica rose now. Rose carnation, fat ylang in the very not wet form. Ylang to me sometimes goes into damp, like the inside of a banana. It goes into thighs and it goes into sécrétion magnifique. And sometimes it goes into starchy, creamy, kind of like creamy tapioca. Or so this is more in the starchy category. And I think there's a little bit of jasmine in there. Caitlin, got it. I don't always pick up jasmine, but I drool when I smell it, and then it's being confirmed to me almost every time that it's present in the composition. This one makes me drool in a very weird way, and I'll show you how. I don't know how to tell you. You smell this and you go like this. You feel like you're being dehydrated. You've been like sesh. You're being like dried from the inside. It's a really, really weird feeling because the impression of dust is so strong that it's just not. It's dusty. Very interesting. The rose and the middle, which is not very floral, it's still very dusty. I told you it's a very dead rose on the manuscript page, somewhere in a monastery with bones, where a monk was picking his nose and like wiping it on the page, kind of a thing. There's still saltiness in this, but dry saltiness. The base is there. You can feel the transition, but it's almost contextual to the rose. There's incense of a lot of kinds. I would guess there's a little bit of hinoki in this. Hinoki is the very ethereal, very airy, almost no body type of wood that's often used in incense in the Japanese islands, sometimes in Korea, sometimes on the mainland in China. But it's called hinoki. It's a Japanese name for a very specific type of wood. And that gives it the same immaterial feeling, which is really weird. I smell some patchouli. It's not dampy. Again, it's some hay. I would guess there's a little bit of kumarin in here. Yes, I would guess it. It's dry hay. It's dry hay. It's not damp hay. Hay sometimes can take it towards a slight fermentation, slightly acrid, or it could go, towards bitter gourmand. This one is dusty. So I do think there's some kumarin here. I think there's some patchouli in here, but again, it's not the dampy. It's not the dirt. It's not the basement. It's more like, this is a cathedral. Here's some bones. Everybody's dead and has been dead for a long time. It does have a little bit of catacomb in it, although it also has these smoky, hot, smoldering facets. It's the weirdest textural. Everything contradicts itself in this fragrance, but it makes it interesting. So for me, it was a very, very happy blind buy. I would guess there's some dusty vetiver in here as well. Very, very, very dry, rooty vetiver. It's not briny. I mean, it's salty, like I said, a little bit savory from whatever feels like. Yeah, you do have to try to toss the hay in order to dry it. Zdravets. What is zdravets? Where was I? Vetiver, dusty vetiver. And then, listen to this. Like it wasn't enough. Just to bring it all together and make it, maybe this would be a reference to a concert. It smells like skin that's been lived in, heavily lived in. This has a crotch smell very deep in there, right? It's the only alive thing in this. Thank you. Thank you, Heath. There's civet, some slight civet. There's some slight, none of them is harsh though. None of them is in your face. None of them is singularly independable, and you can't take it out of the composition. It's there and it's insinuating itself. There's some civet. There's some zdravets. I have to look it up. I don't know what zdravets is. I really have to look it up. Russian, is this the Russian rose you were talking about earlier? With CO2 extraction? I have no idea. But I would be very... Geranium, got it. It's a dusty geranium. Huh. That would be very interesting. I don't smell necessarily geranium. There might be. I mean, who knows? I smell more carnation than geranium. If anything, some tagetes, the crete for Romanians, the yellow flowers that Mexicans use for Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. So there's a slight bitter accord in there, but it's not. No, I don't pick up any geranium, but that doesn't mean it's not in there. It's possible. I will test it and retest it in several weathers. Let's see what happens. So I was saying there's civet, a little bit of musk, gentle musk, and costus. I don't know. Nobody uses costus anymore, but maybe in 1996 they still did. There's a concert. There's a horror rock, ethereal, steampunk, punk, something. Shake your head for a long time and sweat and sweat and sweat. It has a tagette odor. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's these draviets. Trying to look it up. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Zdravets. That's what we learned today. Zdravets. We learned about Gallica roses and zdravets, which are a type of geranium from... Yes, costus equals stinky socks. Stinky. Yeah, I call it crotch. All this combination is a carnival festival crotch smell. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so that was it. This is what I pick up. It's the dustiest, hottest, weirdest texture because it's like powder hot lava. And it is, like I said, the most goth rose I know. I read other reviews. I go through marigolds. Thank you. I go through, others' answers because I told you this is one of the most repeated questions on forums today. Goth rose, and some of the answers I'm like, lyric, Rosa nigrum, pour une femme du caron, voleur du rose. I mean, I don't know what everybody's idea of what goth is, but some of them are, just gentle. This will make anything cough. Anybody go like this. It's a very interesting fragrance. It's a very lucky blind buy. I paid $30 for it in blind, and I told you, I think somebody found it. Found it for what, $80? But it usually sells for much more than that. It is not Galliano. Check and Speak has another goth rose. Nothing to this. Nothing from Tom Ford, which is the most frequent answer when people ask for goth roses. Feel free to hate me. I'm down to share. So if you are from Romania or anywhere in Europe, I can decant this and find its way somewhere. I'd rather not spend on shipping because shipping and post services suck big time. We hate the postal office, but I can make vials and send them around or whatever. So that's not an issue. I don't know how I know you didn't mean it that way, but I'm serious. I can share. I can share any of the stuff. I mean, look at that. And I've been sharing for a long time. So at least if it's in America or Romania or some parts of Europe, it's easy for me to get them to you somehow. And my brother's a flight attendant, so I can easily send him stuff to circulate. What else was given as an example? I think Epine Mortel from Laurent Mazzone. No. It's a spicy. No. They have nothing on this. So, if you like this kind of material about obscures nobody knows about ultra niches that nobody knows about, if you like this kind of descriptions, lengthy descriptions, stick around. Don't forget to subscribe, because I forget to tell you to subscribe. Don't forget to tell others, because I forget to tell you to tell others. And since I'm not paying followers and I'm not renting Instagram lists and stuff, because I'm not a big shot reviewer, I will rely on you to tell others. You did not miss longevity. I forgot to talk about it, because I'm one of those people who see fragrance like people. Some people you enjoy in very short bursts and you're happy when they're gone. Some people you kind of want them in a corner and not bothering you too much, but you want them in the room for 2 days on end. So Indrusaim, the aromatic generic, Your brother is flight attendant, yes. So I can send it places. I'll send me an email. Send me an email so I don't forget. Or put it in comments or something. I'll circulate. Anybody's welcome to anything I have, and I have plenty of vials to fill up. So if any of you are super curious about any of the stuff that I'm talking about, I'm here to share. It's called karma. You know the story. I always say it. Be real, but be kind. Keep it real, keep it kind. Got it. So yeah, that was that. You did not miss longevity. On me, it lasts about 6 hours, I'd say. 6 hours, after which you still smell dust. You smell dust. You don't pick up any notes, but you smell dust. The Savannah one, that's the white flower, altogether amalgamous white flowers, lasts longer. It was still there in the morning. I applied them last night. It was still there in the morning. A remainder of what's in it can still be picked up and individually analyzed. This one wasn't, but I would love to try some sandalwood. Stinky wood I've been ordering mills left and right. So Jesse, this is made by Isabell, which is an ultra niche house that started in 96 and disappeared in 2002. And I am going. Fragrance View is here, and Maria's here, and Jesse's here, and I'm going because I'm done. I'm trying to make it short, guys. Everybody's complaining my videos are too long, and now you're coming down. I'm like, hi. So this is what we talked about today. I'm going to leave you because I think I'm done with everything I wanted to say. Not my eyes, guys. Come on. Focus on the bottle. So this is called ATTAR from the ultra niche American house of Isabell, discontinued, going for ridiculous and decent prices on eBay, but still can be found like I did for $30. So yes, this is ATTAR, and this was a nose. I'm going to kiss you, and I will see you next time. Ha! Yeah, if you're an ass and you walk around with an atomic mushroom, of course everybody's going to avoid you. Definitely everybody's going to avoid me because the stuff I wear. Ha! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Stay cool. Stay woke. And you can find me here. Thank you. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Cheers. Yes, that could be a good thing. Bye. And stream, and we are out. Yes.